improv. Our guest headliner tonight, has been a Toastmaster for 32 years. 15 years ago, he started performing with an improv troupe. After 6 years, he became the owner, director, and rebranded the company as Monterey Comedy Improv. Currently, he teaches improv 4 hours a week and performs throughout the Monterey Peninsula. I had to ask, that's in California. Sorry, not all of us are aware. So please help me welcome our guest headliner tonight, Rich Westbrook.
Hello, everybody. Oh, it looks like a lively group here. Find Your Funny. It's interesting. That was the name of a workshop I had years ago. And now I'm in a meeting called Find Your Funny. Funny how those things happen. When I started doing improv in 2008, the director at the time, my mentor, what he would say continually to all of us was, don't be funny, clever, or original. Oh, that was kind of deflating. I thought I was going to have fun doing this. I'm really clever, original guy. No, it doesn't really work that way in improv. And as a longtime Toastmaster, how does improv fit into Toastmasters? Well, it's different, right? When you're performing improv, you have other players you're performing with. So it's all give and take. In Toastmasters, you're just predominantly delivering a speech. So how do you throw in improv in that? So then really you have two categories with this. So do we teach what people think improv is, and that is yes and? Raise your hand if you've heard that idea of yes and in improv, right? Right. So here's the thing. That's a technique in improv. Oftentimes it's taught as the foundation. And I think it's taught that way because it's simple to understand that. But that's really a technique. So the whole point of this presentation will be to share where the funny comes from, the foundation of it, not how to be funny, because it's very difficult to teach somebody how to be funny. I can give you techniques, but that's just not really how it works. So that's the message today. Don't be funny, clever, original, which is great because that takes all the pressure off. You don't have to try to do this. The idea is that improv is organic. It comes out of the experience that we're all having together. So that leads me to the foundation. What is improv built on? It's built on really three things. One, it's listening. Two, it's observing. And number three, it's spontaneity. Those are really the elements of where improv is built, on those three things. So let's talk about listening for a moment. Listening is probably the skill that I spend the most time teaching in my classes because it's the most difficult thing. Oddly enough, we humans, we already have something going on in our heads, and we're just thinking of the next thing we're going to say, and we're not listening. If you want to be funnier, you have to increase your ability to listen much, much deeper. That way, you have so much more information to pull from the environment and everybody around you, what they're saying, when you fully, deeply listen. The next one is observing. A lot of humor comes from observational humor. It's what we're seeing around us. And improv is the ability to incorporate what we are hearing and what we are seeing in the moment. That's the improv. So when you're delivering a speech, you might hear something earlier in the meeting, or you might see something that's going on, and to be able to incorporate that in an interesting way is where the humor comes, the improv comes from. And oftentimes it will be funny. Another thing too is when we're listening really well, excuse me while the jet passes by, we're able to again reincorporate something that was spoken earlier. And the audience goes, wow, that person really listens. Oh, they really see what's going on. Now, observing, this is interesting. Observing is really identifying the elephant in the room, because there's almost always something going on in the environment that everybody's aware of, but nobody says anything about it. I'm encouraging you to point it out, to recognize that. When you do that, it collectively, everybody's like, oh, there's a release of tension because now it's out there. Something might be goofy going on, but don't ignore it. Bring attention to it. And that will help and put you at ease and everybody else at ease. So incorporating what you're seeing in the environment and what you're hearing in the environment. Now, spontaneity. Spontaneity is partly a technique, but it's really the core of improv. Spontaneity is mostly the first thought, the first thing you think. Now, this is not easy. We are just answer machines. That from childhood, it was taking tests, filling out forms, everything has to be right and correct. So we go through our lives and our adult lives always wanting to find the right answer. Well, guess what? The right answer is usually not very entertaining. So if you're holding to that right answer, it's not very interesting. It doesn't take you anywhere. So these first thoughts, again, the disclaimer on this is it has to be appropriate to the audience. And that should be said without, I shouldn't have to say that, but make sure it's appropriate to the audience. But your first thought is almost always the best thought, like 90, 95% of the time. But here's what happens. We have this great thought. We have this internal kind of laugh about it. And then we filter it. We go, oh, well, is that a right thing to say? Is that approved by everyone else around me? Is that socially acceptable? So there's this approval mechanism that goes on in our brains almost before we say anything. But improv and spontaneity allows for you to say it. That's the key. That's the hard part, is getting rid of your filters. So when I'm teaching improv, it's listening and getting rid of filters, because the filters are not very entertaining. They're pretty dull, in fact. So we want to be able to go with those thoughts and feel excited about it. And I realized early on in Toastmasters, that's a flyover. When I had those moments of observing what I'm seeing and then just calling it out and saying it quickly, the audience loves that. They love seeing you have fun. And I think oftentimes we get in our heads and don't appreciate that. But the more fun you're having, the more fun they are going to have. So I'm going to take a pause right there and ask if there's any questions about anything I just covered. Anything there? No? We have the man in the hat here, Tom.
I'm twisted with your thought that yes and is not the basis, and yet it is used so well in many ways. Why would you twist it that way for today's audience purpose?
Yeah, well, yes and really requires another person to be with you. So I say something and they're accepting what I say and they're responding. I accept what they say. So it's really a ping pong match. In improv, we want people to agree because we want to avoid conflict. And now it's kind of interesting. And I've taught many, many hours of improv. And people, when they first start out, what they do is they start arguing. They get to conflict right away. But then I ask everybody, I said, well, in your lives, when is it entertaining watching people argue? Was it fun watching your parents argue? Probably not. So it's our natural mechanism to get into a conflict because we think it's funny. But that conflict is not based on any kind of foundation of relationship. So we have to have a relationship before you get to conflict. So that's why they teach the yes and to get past that part. But in the higher levels of improv, there's plenty of no, but it's knowing how to use that. And so that's why I say the yes and could be a little misleading. Hopefully that makes sense. Good. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a game. It's a real basic game. It's called Three Things. And this is how it works. Everybody that wants to play, hopefully everybody here, will unmute themselves and turn their video on so I know you're in the game. You are in the game. I'm going to ask you your three favorite blank. Your objective is not to answer that question correctly. So if I say, what are your three favorite restaurants? You're not going to sit there and pause and think about the last great filet mignon you had. You're going to say the first three things that come to mind. That is the skill. That is the goal. And you're not going to filter it. The idea of this is the faster you go, that will increase the likelihood of you messing up, which increases the likelihood of it being funny, right? That's the whole point. We want to fail. Failing forward is entertaining. That's the whole point of this. So if you're reserved, if you're looking for answers, I might ask you another question. The whole point is you're just going to quickly, boom, 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 answer the question. Everybody makes sense? Yeah, everybody got that? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, unmute yourselves. I'm only going to call on the ones that are unmuted. I see some muters there. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, there goes. Sue's joined in. So is Linda. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, great. Sue, quick. Three reasons why octopuses need sunglasses. Go.
Live in the dark, they're green in color, and they're smart.
Excellent. Good job. Very good. Okay. Tom, the man in the hat. Give me the names of three of your hats. Go.
Panama hat, German hat, and Ralph.
Great. Fantastic. Three nicknames for those hats that you just named.
Squishy, because I took him to Australia and he's all wet. I don't have nicknames for him. I'll pass.
I get two more. Go. Make it up.
Cindy and Johnny.
Perfect. Very good. Good job. Very good job. All right, Vivian. You haven't moved yet. Is that a picture? Are you playing? I can't tell. Are you there, Vivian?
Yeah, video or picture, I still look the same. Yes.
Very nice. Great. Okay. Tell me three different animal prints that you want to wear besides cheetah.
Sure. I want to have my neighbor's cat. I want to have the elephant in the zoo. And I want to have a kangaroo.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Okay, Linda. Three events that are going to take place behind you in that weird little building.
Skydivers landing, a quilt show, and a balloon festival.
Great. Now name those three festivals. The names of them. Don't look up. Look straight at the camera.
Yeah. Skyhoppers, mountaintop quilters, and balloon festival. Well, that's not very good.
No, that's good. Don't filter it. It's fine. Fantastic. Okay. Marjane, three reasons why your house is tilted. Go.
I'm crooked. It's crooked. Everyone else is crooked.
Great. Tell me three things those little dolls are whispering in your ears right now. It's one.
Straighten up and fly right.
Find your funny.
Find your funny. There you go.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Very good. Francine, three things you learned in Toastmasters that doesn't apply in the real world. Go.
That I can be funny. that anybody else could be funny and that we could all be funny together.
Very nice. Good. Master Evaluator Terry, 3 things that you learned in kindergarten.
How to color, how to smile, and how cruel kids can be.
Good, good. Barry, 3 things to do in Bali that only the locals know about.
Eating babi guling, suckling pig. Praying in the temples. And
make it up.
Go fishing. I don't know, everybody does, but
there you go. Excellent. Rosemary, 3 tips for me to be glamorous.
Wear a wig, wear lots of makeup, and wear lots of accessories.
Oh, thank you. Very good. I think my time is up, though. Correct, timer, Sue? I'm sorry. Sorry if I didn't
Yes, you may have time for 1 or 2 questions if you want. I factored that in.
Okay, great. Questions?
Does your improv group ever make it to Florida?
For enough money, we'll go anywhere. One of my players moved there. Anything else?
How can we learn more from you after today's event?
Yeah, come out to Monterey and you can take my classes.
Do you have any online classes?
I used to, but improv is, I'm very much a connection person. So the energy in the room and there are a lot of the spontaneity really requires a lot of speed. With the delay online, it's difficult. So online, it's a very different form of improv. So I really don't teach that now because I have so many live classes that I teach. So I don't do that, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I could come back and visit, though.
Love that.
And I think that's time. I'm going to be finifugal now. I'm going to wow. Ooh, girl.
I thank you so very much, Rich. I think we need a field trip out to Monterey. What do you say?
Yep.
Next year's Toastmasters convention, everybody on board. Not that far from Anaheim, right?
That's right.
Driving distance. I want to thank you so very much. What a wonderful session. Next up, we have our first